Jerry's on the phone here.
Okay.
He's on hold, so I'll just hit it.
Craig, you're sitting in the middle.
He's on.
I think you are. Okay. There's no way.
Mike in the middle, don't you?
Yes.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for this exciting announcement that USA Basketball is making. I just wanted to go over a couple things and we'll get right into the press conference. Because this press conference is being streamed live, I know I've been told that normally it's kind of a stand up, give your question and sit down, or maybe not even stand up. But we'd ask if you just wait for a mic so that we can get a mic to you so everybody can hear the questions that are going to be asked today. And then we'll get right into general comments and make sure everybody gets a chance to do Q&A as needed. Want to introduce, of course, our table from right to left. The far right, of course, is Dr. Kevin White, who's Vice President and Director of Athletics here at Duke. In the middle is the man of the hour, Coach Krzyzewski. And to my immediate left here is President of Duke University, Dr. Richard Broadhead. So without further ado, we also have joining us, and unfortunately was unable to make it today, USA Basketball Chairman and our Managing Director. Joining us on the phone is Jerry Colangelo. Jerry, can you hear us?
I can.
Great. So at this point, I think it would be great if we could get Jerry to start off and make some general comments. Jerry, please, about the selection process and all those good things. I did want to point out that for those that aren't aware, Jerry in 2005, after the United States had not won gold medals in the previous two major international competitions, was appointed managing director of USA Basketball's men's national team. It was Jerry's restructuring and re-energizing of the program. He brought Coach K in, of course, and in the time since 2006 that they came together, the program's gone 62-1. Tremendous success, winning 2 Olympic gold medals, of course, and you know, the crown jewel of FIBA basketball is the World Championship, and of course Coach K and Jerry were able to assemble a team that won that in 2010. So at this point, I'd like to turn it over to Jerry for his comments.
Thank you, Greg. I appreciate that, and good morning, everyone. Dr. Broadhead and Kevin, I appreciate the support you've given Coach K on this endeavor. I believe it's been very healthy and a very positive thing for the university, along with how positive it's been for USA Basketball. I couldn't be happier to have Coach K back. You know, I'm kind of old-fashioned. I never really accepted the fact he wasn't coming back, and I felt time would be what he needed in terms of a tonic to think through the positives and also weigh, you know, the positives and whatever negatives there may be. I just think it's a perfect fit for him. I think his legacy is very much tied to USA Basketball, as it certainly is to Duke University. And I could not have picked a better guy to be in that foxhole with than Coach K, and it's been great. I've really enjoyed it tremendously, and you know, international basketball has become really competitive, and continuity is a critical factor in our success, and this gives us that continuity. And we have changed the national team environment and the perception, and have achieved remarkable success, and the fact that players want to play and how Americans are so supportive of their team says a great deal. We're going to build on that success as we go forward. We have a lot of programs in place. We have a great relationship with the U.S. Olympic Committee and our International Basketball Federation, FIBA, That's all at a all-time high, and we're going to continue to build on that. And so we have some work to do. We have to prepare for the FIBA World Cup, which will be held in Spain next August, and of course the Olympics in Rio de Janeiro in 2016. But we have some work this summer in bringing some of the young players together for our training camp, first and second year players that are the future representatives of the World Cup and Olympic teams representing the United States. And, you know, with that, I just want to say on a personal basis to Coach K, it's been a heck of a ride and a great journey, and I'm so happy that we're going to continue.
Okay.
Thank you, Jerry. As Jerry said, the cooperation between Duke University and USA Basketball has been tremendous over the past 7 years, 8 years, and going on for another 4 now. To talk about that a little bit, Dr. Brodnick, I'm sorry, Brodnick, I apologize. Would you care to give some general comments here, please?
Sure, with pleasure, and hello to you, Jerry.
Good morning.
Let me say what everybody knows. Mike Krzyzewski is a towering figure, the winningest coach in Division I men's basketball history. That's to say, he is unequaled. No one has done what he has done in his career. But the wins, everybody knows, aren't really the story. The wins came about because this man has unique talents for motivating people, making them want to live up to the very fullest of their potential, and learning them understand how they can do things together that none of them can accomplish on their own. That's why I say you are an educator. This is why you belong in a university. Those are the skills of an educator. But when Mike was first named as the coach of Team USA 7 years ago, there would have been 2 kinds of questions people could ask. And one was, will the skills that work with college athletes work with professional athletes? And the second was, is Duke going to be the loser if Team USA is the gainer? But after 7 years of history, we actually know the answer to those questions. First of all, you took that team, you gave it pride, you helped it live up to its potential, and we've all seen the results that you've achieved, and such pride for our country. And then as for Duke, the whole point for Duke is Duke didn't lose any of Mike Krzyzewski by having you become the coach of the Olympics. You've come back from that process so energized, so exhilarated, that I think you've been more into coaching at Duke in your Olympic years than you ever were before. So I see this as just a win-win-win, a win for Team USA, a win for Duke, a win for the United States, and a win for the Olympics. So not a win-win-win, a win-win-win-win. And Mike, I just congratulate you. And I said to you as we came in here, I look forward to sitting with you at this same table in the year 2017 when it's announced that you're going to coach in the Olympics in 2020. Good for you, Mike. Put it there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dr. White, Dr. Brett, if we can get you across a little bit with Coach K and do a little jersey photo op.
Okay.
I hope this guy's playing.
We can see what was on the back of you guys.
You sent this down to Los Angeles. I don't know how good that looks. Thank you.
You know I gotta go catch up.
I know.
Okay, thanks.
Is that all right to get home? Okay. First of all, I want to thank Dr. Broadhead for being here. He's on a tight schedule. He actually has we should have had a helicopter ready for him to take him to the airport. He's got important things to do. Certainly appreciate what Jerry and Dr. Broadhead have said. It's the ultimate honor, really, to coach our country's team. And and it's the ultimate honor of a player to play for his country's team. And everyone that's been involved with USA Basketball over the last 7 years has come to realize just what an honor it has been. When the 2008 Olympics, the World Championships in 10, and then London were all finished, I really felt it would be the end of my time coaching international basketball, which really started in 1979. I've been doing it for almost, 3.5 decades. And, but it really, the way USA Basketball is set up, at the end of every 4-year period, something ends and something starts, right after that. And basically what ends is, the pool of players there is no pool anymore. You take a look at players, coaches, the infrastructure of Jerry and Craig and Jim Tooley and Sean Ford and all the guys at USA Basketball remains the same. But there's a process that you go through USA Basketball and its board to try to see what the future, the next 4 years will hold and how you want to position yourself for those 4 years. When I said I wasn't going to do it, I felt that I wasn't going to do it. And I felt it gave USA Basketball an opportunity to take a look at everything. And I wanted to still become a part of USA Basketball, whether it be, I don't know, something, looking for a job in addition to my main job. And that started the discussions of staying involved. And Jerry and I have spoken about the evolution of basketball in this country. USA Basketball is taking a more prominent role. They've taken over the lead in iHoops now that is funded by the NBA and the NCAA. And really, this is the only country in the world that doesn't run basketball the same way from young to old. In other words, we have rules, different rules for every level, every men's, women's. In all the other countries, that's not the case. And at some time in the future, it'd probably be good where USA Basketball would be the body that kind of brings everybody together, and so that it's all done the right way. We're headed to a position where we now have the respect of the world. Like Jerry was saying, with FIBA, that's the governing body for basketball in the world. It's not just a United States sport. It's a world sport. It's the second biggest sport in the world. And we're part of that world. And I think for these last 7 years, the players, the coaches, everyone has understood that. And so now where did these 4 years go? And when Jerry has talked to me quite extensively about wanting me to have the role of continuing to be the coach. He gave me an opportunity. He didn't really, talk about it during our season. He talked to me just before the Louisville game, and I think he distracted me with about 12 minutes to go in the game on that out of bounds play where I was trying to get Seth a three-pointer, and all of a sudden I got a text from him. So yeah, just I thought he was off. But after the season, things picked up, and then in discussions with me and my wife, Mickey, we looked at this very closely and how it would impact on our own family. We have 8 grandchildren and a 9th on the way this July, and what it would do at Duke University, and as a result of getting the input that we did, I felt that, I'm really excited to do it. It's still the ultimate honor, and it's an honor for me to accept the position as head basketball coach for the United States men's national team. And we'll try to do these 4 years the same way we did the last 7, in that to build it with the best players available, try to get as many of the best players as we can. They're the ones who make an amazing commitment, just so you know that. You know, all these guys that play, the guys who are playing now, they've played well over 100 games this year. And their careers are a dog's life. You know, in other words, they don't, I'm 66, they're not, you know, if they play past 35, that's a long time. And so for them to give up their time, I've really, that's who I respect the most, are the players who've played for us and who will play for us. And I'm looking forward to now establishing a pool of players. Basically, today is the start of this next 4-year cycle. The naming of the head coach by Jerry and USA Basketball. In a few weeks, the staff will be named, and a lot of players have already kind of tweeted and, you know, put out through, you know, their quotes where they're making gestures of wanting to be part of this again. So that'll be my main effort right now, is to replenish the pool and try to do that in the way that we did it before. And hopefully we'll get some of these guys who have played and have served. We call it serving more so than playing, because we've used the military, not to put ourselves even in the same room with the military, because they're the best team in the world, our military. But we've tried to use the way they look at selfless service, although they're putting their lives on, you know, they're on the line for, you know, to protect us. We're just playing basketball, but it is about service. It's about service, and I think it's been good for all of us that we've learned a greater level of service in doing that. So my next job is to start doing that with the players, get ready for a mini camp that we have this summer, the 21st through the 25th of July in Vegas. We'll have a game on the 25th, and then start preparations for what is now called the World Cup for basketball in 2014, which will be played in Madrid. If we were fortunate to win that, we would not have to qualify for the Olympics in Rio. If we do not win it, then we'll have to participate in a qualifying tournament in the United States, or in North America probably, not in the United States necessarily, in 15, and then the Rio Olympics is in August of 2016. So I'm excited about doing it, and again, I want to thank Jerry for giving me the opportunity to do this again. And I don't feel I've been. It's not like a player saying he's going to come back to play. I really thought I wasn't going to do it, but now that I am doing it, I can tell you that I am doing it with 100% commitment and passion, and but with 7 years of experience of having done it before. So I'd love to entertain any questions that you might have, and then I think we have to do it a different way, and then obviously you can direct questions to Jerry too. Jerry, can you?
Yes, I'm on.
Okay.
Coach, what was kind of a turning point where you would even consider talking to Mickey about doing this again? Was it in your garden at the beach over a glass of wine? How did the process work?
Well, you know, she, I don't know if there was like a moment, but, you know, when she heard, you know, Jerry's on the phone. I guess, what does Jerry want? And so he wants to talk about USA Basketball. Well, we're not doing that. And I said, well, we probably aren't doing it, but we should probably listen. And so actually going through this, I've really loved how my wife and I have gone about this. Where we, the other two times, the first time when Jerry asked me, I said I was going to do it, and then I faked it with my family to make them feel part of the decision. That's what guys do that. And but it was about something good, not about faking something bad. And then the second time, it was good, but I didn't involve all the people that I should have involved before doing it. And this time, we involved everybody that should have been involved. And that's why I feel very, very good about the decision.
Mike, you're doing this at a time when the greatest coaches of all time gave up the game, walked away. How much longer are you going to do this, and have you given thought to that?
I'm going to, what Dr. Broadhead actually said, I don't think I don't think I did it bad before the Olympics. We won one, and we were real bad before that. But it renewed, I got better doing it. Just like a player gets better from doing it, we all got better. And that energizes you because it's like a teacher learning new material, and I still, I'm 66, I don't know how you're supposed to feel at 66. I never think of my age. I may look my age or look whatever the heck you're supposed to look like, but I feel energetic, passionate, wanting to achieve. I think one of the really good things about having been the coach of this team is I never look in a rearview mirror, for what we've done, if we've lost or won. And I'm constantly like in that team or whatever. And when you're with these guys, it's energizing. A lot of people think, well, they got big egos and that they're going to be tough. And I think if you go in with that attitude, then it will be tough. I can tell you that I've loved it. I've loved it, and I think the players who've played have loved it. And people then see that, and you want to do it again. Now, I think people think that because we have all these guys, you just roll out a ball and you're going to win. And that's a very arrogant way of looking at it. And it's that arrogance that got us into the spot we were in before, in thinking that no one is good. There are a lot of great teams out there, and you see these guys playing in the NBA. 21% of the NBA is international. And these teams can have anywhere from 10 to 12 NBA players on them. And you know what? We only have 10. We have 12 NBA players. And we'll have 5 of them out there at one time, and they'll have 5. If we could put all of our NBA players out there at one time, we'd win all the time. But as long as it's 5 against 5, we can lose at any time. And that's the respect you have to give your opponent, and that's what we do with our preparation.
Coach, maybe for Jerry, if he can hear me, he said he was going to come after you with wine and pizza. Did that meeting ever happen literally? And if not, what was his pitch that sort of changed your mind, as you said? You felt you weren't going to do it.
No, it was.
Well, I was going to add, Coach, that we probably have to say we added pasta this time in Las Vegas. That probably helped. And actually, I did it with Mickey in your absence, which I think helped the process a little bit.
That was better, yeah. She likes being with you more than me. You take her to better restaurants. No, there was no wine. Actually, it was room service pizza and some chicken fingers, I think.
That's right.
So got me pretty cheap. Yeah, I'm going to make you pay for that over the next 4 years at dinners. Obviously, the one thing I would say is, Jerry and we have an incredible relationship, and I've been lucky to work with great people here at Duke. You know, I got the best athletics director in the whole country, in Kevin. My president is great. My presidents who've been here have been unbelievable, the ADs. Jerry I've learned a lot from just working with him. You know, he's been the main architect for for changing USA basketball. And the two of us, along with the infrastructure of USA basketball, we work together very well as a team.
I agree.
Yeah.
Over the summer, you obviously had valid reasons for deciding you weren't going to do it again.
Right.
Are those still issues that you have to work through? I mean, talk a little bit about that process, about going from having reasons not to do it again to deciding you would.
Yeah, well, the main reason not to do it again was what would be good for USA basketball. In other words, you just step aside and you allow them the opportunity to set their course and not to assume that you're that guy. You know, I mean, that's what USA basketball is bigger than any coach or player or whatever. On my side of things, then, for Duke was first of all family. You know, how does it does diminish some family time. So that's why my daughters were part of the decision, and then for Duke, it really doesn't take that much time away during recruitment. Most of the stuff is done in August, which is not a time that you're allowed to be out. There will be some time, like this past year, we weren't able to be out in the summer for London because London was earlier. And then you have to get exception from the NCAA to allow other people to go on the road for you. But I don't think it's hurt our program. I think it's only helped our program. But the main thing is, will you still have the drive and the energy, and can you give the time that's going to be necessary to do it? And the final decision was yes, I can do that. You guys start asking better questions.
Mike, do you see coaching Duke and coaching USA basketball as kind of going hand in hand and complementing each other, or do you see a time maybe in the future where it's just USA basketball for you?
No, I think actually that's a really good point, and it's my wife actually brought up, says, well, when we first started thinking that we might do it, that boy, it'd be easier if you weren't coaching at Duke. And not that she was trying to get me to stop coaching at Duke. And I said, really it's just the opposite. I don't think anybody should coach the team unless they're coaching. In other words, you got to stay sharp. And so I'm coaching in the best league, against the best competition, the best players that I can. And then doing it becomes easier. So another thing was, I wasn't sure, before London, just how much longer I might coach. Not that I gave a time frame, but pretty much I don't see an end. And I know, obviously I'm not going to end before the Olympics. So, and then I didn't know I got a contract extension today from Dr. Broadhead. Follow up with that. Jerry's not on the spot. He just has to do it through 2016. So, but you have to do both, I think.
Mike, you've obviously had a lot of ideas for the overall health of the game, and whether it's this level, NBA, USA basketball, does this continuity help with some of those ideas, maybe make progress that you'd like to do? And if you could also just touch on, I feel like at the airport, back when you got back from London, you may have even said the next coach, it might fit if he's a full-time guy. Maybe I'm remembering that wrong, but is that different? Do you feel differently about that now?
I think the way we do it is a good way, and we're getting a lot of continuity in our young programs. Don Showalter has done with the youngest guys really well. Billy Donovan is coaching the under-19 team again. He did it last summer. He's doing it again. we're trying to get more continuity in that regard. I do think with Jerry's leadership, Jerry's done an amazing job in raising money. You know, like these things, you know, the players are, no one, there's not pay there, but you have to pay a lot to run all this stuff, all these programs and the travel and whatever, and you need sponsorships. And Jerry really, you know, has done an incredible job of doing that. As a result, he's also taken on the responsibility of iHoops now. I think in the near future you're going to hear announcements about moving USA basketball, and it's going to be a big complex in another part of the country. I don't think I'm at liberty to say exactly where yet and what they're doing, but it's going to be in the next 4 years or so. There's going to be major progress in that regard, which will give facilities and the space necessary to maybe take on a bigger role in coordinating everything that goes on in our country basketball-wise, and where we're able to work together a lot better as one team. And I believe that that's going to happen in the future, and I'd like to be a part of that, you know, of bringing that together. I think it's what our game needs that. Our game needs that. I don't know if, yeah.
Something there, Coach, because I was about to make comment on that with all the years of service you have put in and you're continuing, I don't see an end to that. And that goes beyond your coaching days. You have been such a part of USA basketball. I can just see you moving on to be a part of the organization in a huge way after your coaching days are over. So I'm looking forward to seeing that happen, and that too is continuity, and it's part of who you are.
Do you feel like we've just gone, like we're walking down the street and there's this sign that says fortune teller, and we go in to see, you know, Madam Colangelo, and all of a sudden you're looking at, I can see in my crystal ball, but he's pretty good about looking into crystal balls. And anyway, the future, it's going to be really exciting for USA basketball. And it has been, but it's going to be even better.
Perhaps just piggybacking off Laura's question, how much does your Duke job inform your Team USA, or the vice versa, or what degree of it is totally compartmentalized? And you said you loved this last year at Duke. Did that have any impact on making you more receptive to this?
No, real good point. Yeah, you know, I love my team at Duke this year. We had one of our special groups, and our 3 seniors were just stud guys. They were incredible. I mean, 2 of them played hurt and did a pretty good job. But you know what? Like, you shouldn't think about your job every waking second, but it's nice when you don't think about everything about Duke, you're still thinking about basketball with the other. So it kind of, and you think of it like organizationally, motivationally, inspirationally, organizationally, you know, like it's almost like, you know, instead of doing crossword puzzles or playing golf or, I don't know, it keeps you active. It keeps you mentally sharp. And so I do think of you, and I will for the next 4 years, I'll think about USA basketball every day, but not in the place of Duke. You know, it helps. It just kind of goes in, because sometimes what you're dealing with USA basketball has a bearing. You know, obviously X's and O's it does, but even organizationally, you know, I think, you know, some of the top business people in our country, they do things on a board, or they're and something they get from that they bring back to their business. You find that with a lot of people on nonprofits. You know, people in high business, they're also doing a nonprofit board, and all of a sudden interacting with those people, they learn something about people, they learn something about organization or strategy that has an impact on, you know, their current job. So that's what USA Basketball has done for me. Yeah, Steve.
What will the involvement of your Duke staff be in this endeavor, particularly in making both USA Basketball and Duke successful?
Yeah, well, you know, after the 2008 Olympics, Jerry, we had a get-together in Beijing, and one of the things that Jerry did was toast Duke, and just said, you know, not just for allowing me to be the coach, but for allowing me to bring some of my infrastructure with me, which helped develop a culture for USA Basketball. And we believe that it's important going forward, too. It's difficult for anybody who's been here now as a head coach somewhere because they have other responsibilities. But I would hope that, you know, Steve and Jeff would both, you know, be involved. And Steve has been involved the whole time anyway. And Kevin Cullen, our video coordinator, you know, he's done everything for 7 years. I would assume that takes place. And the staff will be named in a few weeks. Jerry wants to do that and coordinate it. And there have been people, you know, like if, obviously I'm going to consider, you know, Jim Boeheim helping again, and, you know, one of his assistants, his top assistant, Mike Hopkins, he's helped us in the World Championships and in London. So you need those guys. Those guys are critical. I mean, they're critical. And the other thing is, as far as then we're together as a staff. You know, there are times we just say, boy, this would be good for what, you know, our team at Duke. Like, actually, our team for next year at Duke is very athletic. It'll mirror some of the things we've done with the Olympic team, where you have guys with multiple positions, you know, and we're still trying to get a waiver for LeBron and Kobe to come back and use their college eligibility, so that'll help us even a little bit more in some of the things we've been able to do.
Coach, just the LeBron quote yesterday, it sounded like he would like to play again. He said if he's healthy, and it's 4 years away. But have you and Jerry kind of scratched out who you'd like to have? And
well, it's easy to say who you'd like to have, but we wouldn't make that public. You know, LeBron is terrific in every sense of the word, and we've been together. He was there before we were there. You know, you talk about a guy who's given a lot for his country. Since 2004, he's been a part of a World Championship competition, 2 Olympics. He wasn't in Istanbul. If he did go forward, we would not anticipate him being in Madrid. But yeah, those guys, he'll be in, you know, it's hard to believe he'll be in his 30s now, and which doesn't mean he's over the hill. And I don't know if he'll ever be over the hill, but I would hope that he would consider, you know, Rio. He was our leader. He was one of our leaders and our best player in London. And yeah, I love the guy. I think he's unbelievable. He's pretty good last night too. Yeah.
Mike, you mentioned the arrogance that had seeped into the thing before you guys came. Do you have to fight that now? Is that still out there?
Well, I think it's there with, you know, I'm not saying everyone is arrogant in our country or whatever, but I think you have to teach it. You still have to teach it, not assume it, because the public perception is that it's only going to be easy. And if you do your program that way, you're going to get beat. It's not a 7-game series. In other words, talent will show up the more you play, but you only play once. You know, and it's 40 minutes, not 48. Different way of 5 fouls, not 6. It's administrated differently. It's a different ball, and we have we have learned the international game well. And then we have to continue to teach it to the new guys who are playing for us by having international officials come in, getting them accustomed to doing it. Because in a one-game shot, you can definitely lose. Right? Our next big competition is in Madrid. If you think it's going to be easy, if we're fortunate enough to make it to the championship game, because Argentina, Italy, Lithuania, Greece, they're all good. But Spain and Madrid, I know all those people who say it's easy and you roll out the ball. I'd like for them to walk out on the court that day and say, hey, this is going to be a breeze. It's not, because the Gasols, Ibaka, Navarro, Rubio, they're pretty good. And the other thing is they play on their country's soil, and these countries have a great feeling. The thing that we never matched another country with was the feel of playing for your country. I think over the last 7 years we've done that. And because when you're playing Argentina, Spain, it's a hell of a game. Those guys are playing at a whole nother level. And tell me Ginobili and Skoll and these guys aren't good. I'd like to have them on our team. And so it's not. We do have the best talent. We have to make sure we become. This is an important thing. We have the best talent. We have to make sure we do all the things necessary to become the best team. And the last 3 competitions, we were able to do that. And that's the challenge going forward, is the development of a team, not having individual stars on the team. Because the other teams have teams,
We have, I'm sorry, we just have to, your last question, because we do have another commitment right here.
To the Hank Iba years, you're familiar with those?
Yeah.
And how that all kind of came to an end. Can you imagine if you were on the bench in '72, maybe how that would have been different?
Well, I can't even imagine myself 72, so I can't imagine myself 66. So Mr. Iba was one of the great coaches and great Americans. And, he should have won in '72 also. And, but it's not easy, and, we had a bigger, there's a bigger difference in the game from us and the rest of the world at that time. But there's not that much difference. I mean, just take a look at all the big guys in the NBA and how many of them are American. If you watch San Antonio play, take about 5 minutes and just watch Ginobili play for those 5 minutes, and you'll see one of the great players in the world, play. And we've seen that. We appreciate that, and the world knows that we appreciate it, and we appreciate it enough to work our fannies off to develop a team that's worthy of winning against that type of feeling and that type of talent and that type of passion for the game. And if you don't do that for the United States, you're going to lose. You can do it and still lose. But the only way you're going to win is if you do that. You're not going to win by showing up. And our guys know that. The guys who played know that 100%. So hopefully we'll get a number of them, to come back and replenish with some new guys. There's a lot of good new players.
Jerry changed your mind where you're giving any of these NBA teams another idea to run?
No. About coaching in the NBA. And, no, I love the NBA obviously, but I love Duke, and I love our conference. What's happening with our conference. We're going to be a 10-bid conference. We're going to be the best conference in the history of the game, and it's exciting to be a part of that. Well, it's a good time. Good time. All right. Thank you for being here, and Jerry, thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Well, take care.
Thank you, everybody. I want to also thank Duke University for hosting us and John and his staff for everything. We do have a teleconference that starts at 11:30, which Jerry and Coach K will be on. If you had any follow-up questions,
Thanks.
the information's back here. You're welcome to join in on it.
Thanks.
Thank you.